Hi there, hello, welcome to Guru Grit, another astrology video for you starting with Saturn. It's going to be part of our Saturn series, so I'm going to talk about Saturn today. Third time's lucky charm. It's my third time making this video. I tried last week, this week, and now today. And then we'll do Saturn through the houses and Saturn through the signs, and I want to do a Saturn course which will really explain like how he affects where he sits in your chart, who he's good with, who he's not, all that stuff. So stay tuned because he's so misunderstood. I have an affinity for things that are misunderstood. So I started with him just to tell you like there's nothing to be afraid of. Like he's a planet like any other. He serves a purpose like any other. So no more long-winded introductions. Let's just get right into it. More information, look below. Okay, Saturn. Saturn is the outermost planet. He's the slowest moving planet. I'm not including the outer planets. I'm only talking about the original planets, okay? If you know, you know. Okay, so moving on. His orbit is 29 and a half years. He will spend about 2.5 years in every sign, about. And a thing to note is this is what we call a Saturn return. Okay, so Saturn return, and I'll do a whole video on that separately, and Sade Sati separately, is when, say you're born Saturn 3 degrees of Aries, 29 years later, when you're around the age of 29, it can be earlier, like 27, so roughly, okay, 27 to 30-ish, he comes back to 3 degrees of Aries. So he's returning to where he was at the time that you were born, all right? So that's his orbit. Second, he's very misunderstood. So what does Saturn actually represent? So basically all the things we don't really like. And it's funny because I just made a quote, I've read an excerpt from this book, The Magic of Getting What You Want, where he says you have to take willingness to sacrifice and eagerness for responsibility. So Saturn is tasks, challenges, hard work, sickness, disease, death, struggle, suffering, pain, chronic illness, like all this stuff that really stinks. But it's a part of life. I don't know if it's good or bad. It just is. And that's what I really like about him. He's very realistic. And like I live in my version of reality. So I enjoy him there. And another thing to understand, Saturn rules karma. And he's the planet he's the lord of time. Okay, so we can go more into like myth and things like that if you're really into the occult. But he's been referred to as an old devil for a reason. The black sun, the original sun, and like in Western, European myth, Hephaestus, okay, like he's like a soot-covered old blacksmith, like living in a dungeon cave thing. He's just like filthy, but he makes beautiful things. Okay, so he makes things of value. He makes beautiful things. He puts in a lot of effort. He works hard. He's characterized as like a hermit. He disregards society. He likes to be alone, and he generally rules old people, injured people, limping people, people who are outcasts, who are on the fringes of society, but also, so misunderstood people, but also he rules most people, like he rules the masses. So I'm going to use example charts of politicians. You'll see politicians times they can have a very prominent Saturn. They can have an exalted Saturn or a lot of, Saturnian influence, and this is what helps them wield power over others. So what is he really good for? Saturn is excellent for asserting boundaries. He does actually rule our boundaries. So you'll find oftentimes, like I said, Aries, if you have debilitated Saturn, which is Aries or Cancer, or Leo, Aries, Cancer, Leo, he's very weak in those signs. The person can just have a hard time saying no, can have a really hard time with standing up for themselves. They can just be people-pleasing in general. The funny thing is, he's very strong in the 7th house. So even there, the person can be a really strong person, have a very set personality, but they can find it very hard to say no to others. They can have a streak of people-pleasing. So that's pretty much what Saturn does. So what do you really need him for? Well, if you consider the fact that he rules time, he can help you build like a legacy or an empire. He is somebody who really rewards achievement and hard work. So he actually does rule ethics. So if you work hard, you get what you put in. He's like that, okay? He governs those things. He's known, archetypally, he's like a judge. So whereas like Sun is the king, Jupiter's the law, the judge executes the law. To me, in my head, he's like an executioner. He's like leather clad and like mean, but he's has to do it. Like, someone has to do it. It has to be done. It's going to be him. So if you want something to last a long time, to stand the test of time, to build a legacy, to build a business, to build a family, you know, you need him. You need him to create something that's going to last, and that's going to have impact, that's going to like affect other people. So he rules the colors black and dark blue. He does not rule the color brown. I don't know why people say that. That's not true. But you know, like dark colors, okay, like dark brown, fine, but black. So wearing black on Saturdays is very much in alignment with him. He rules crows, they're black, you know, graveyards, retirement homes, decrepit abandoned buildings, you know, those things are all very, very Saturnian. Foods, you know, that are, I can't think of many black foods apart from like squid ink, maybe like a blackberry, but it's more purple. But you know, when you get more into it, there's like food types, you know, you can go by like flavor, are they acerbic, acidic, sour, sweet, it helps you. He's known as like quite cold, you know, so Saturn isn't really the most like fertile thing ever. So the sign of Aquarius, you know, can be like seen as quite barren because Saturn's in his joy there. But interestingly, you know, children are a huge responsibility and you're responsible for them forever. So depending on like, you know, where he sits in your chart and how you work it out, you can actually tell like that person's gonna be a very serious parent. Or you know, you had very serious parents. Like Saturn in the second house can really show like, you're gonna be no nonsense. You're gonna be blah, 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 blah. You can marry somebody with $50 million and they give you the world. They promise you the world, they give you the world, okay? And when you have your kids, you'll be like, no, you can go pick up a pine cone in the autumn, go clean the neighbor's yards, and I'm gonna count 12 cents a pine cone or whatever, and then I'm gonna let you buy that little thing that you wanna buy. You know, like you can't just get something willy-nilly. You will have respect. You will take your elbows off the table. Da, 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 da. Okay, like that's a very Saturnian parent. My friend has Saturn in the second house. I'm not laughing at her, it's the way that she said it. It's so funny. I was like, you know, I just wanna know your experience because, and he was in a good sign, right? And she went, I don't know, why did you ask me what she's like, I don't know, my parents just had me to sweep floors. That's all I know, okay? They just had me to like work really hard. I thought that was funny, but you know, it's a very no-nonsense approach to something. So he's said to be like melancholy, he's said to look down. So let's say you have him in a really high place in the chart, like the 10th house, which is the highest place, the midheaven. You could still like doubt yourself. You could be CEO, you could launch a business, you can have something go viral and just like sell everything out. And you're gonna be the type of person who wakes up and goes, yeah, but it's not gonna happen again. I just got lucky that one time. That won't happen to me, you know? So Saturn is very realistic. You can definitely work with him. We'll cover more. This is just an introductory video. So stay tuned. Tomorrow is Saturn's Day. So go wear black and do something for others. Have a sense of duty and responsibility and he will reward you. Until next time, I love you all very much and I look forward to answering all of your questions. Bye-bye.